We've had big choices in our democracy before. Democracy has never been easy. Our founders argued about all kinds of things. We waged a civil war to make sure that we weren't living in a country that was half slave and half free. We overcame a Great Depression. We've had a women's movement and workers' movements and civil rights movements to expand the franchise. We have had a lot of fights in this country about a lot of important issues, and each time we've made progress, we've also then had retrenchment. Sometimes we've gone forward, and then sometimes we've gone backwards. The good news is the broader story of America has been one of progress. The good news is that for all our ups and downs, America's become more free and more just and more equal and more prosperous than it was in the past. It's not perfect. We've got a lot more work to do, but slowly we have tried to move forward. And the progress we made was not because of one leader. It wasn't because a guy made a good speech. I love you too, baby, but it wasn't just because of one leader, it wasn't because of one law. It was one because rather than be bystanders to history, this is what politicians fall back on. You know, they'll say, candidate such and such, they're going to let in murders into your house. And, you know, that's what they do. And you'll be seeing more of that. And the thing is, the good news is in a healthy democracy, that kind of fear-mongering doesn't work. In a healthy democracy, our antibodies kick in, right? People of goodwill from both parties, they'll call out the bigots and the fear-mongers, and they'll work to compromise and get things done. But when there's a vacuum in our democracy, when we do not vote, when we take our basic rights for granted,
I don't gotta give you no money.
then other voices fill the void. They promise to fight for the little guy, even as they are helping the wealthiest and the most powerful. And they promise that they're going to take on corruption in Washington. And then they just plunder. And they start undermining our institutions of democracy, just so it can entrench their power further. And they'll unwind our campaign finance laws so that billionaires have even more influence. And they'll make it even harder for young people to vote and minorities to vote and the poor to vote. And they'll subsidize corporate polluters. And they'll give $1.5 trillion in tax cuts to folks like me who don't need them. And they'll pretend that they're paying for them, but they're not. And they know that eventually, to pay for it, they'll be able to argue that we should cut help for working families, cut Medicare. You know what? The Republicans in Congress right now, there's no check on the White House. They're bending over backwards to shield. To shield folks from scrutiny and accountability. So, look, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You know this. Here's the good news. On November 6th, you have a chance to restore some sanity to our politics. On November 6th, you can tip the balance of power back to the people. Because there's only one real check on bad policy, and there's only one real check on the abuse of power, and that is you, the American people, standing up and deciding to cast